Refresh the stream, folks. Refresh. 1 second. Oh no, now I'm in vertical. Yeah, just move over if the vertical isn't working. Kirkenstein's monster. I don't know if I said hello. I guess this troll's arguing any government transition externally imposed is liberation. Yeah, no, it's a bad faith thing. They have no idea what they actually mean. They're probably just they're in their stupid mind. They probably just mean that like America doing anything, it just means that it's good, right? Be right back. I'm leaving work. Good luck. It was part of backing Iraq in the Iran-Iraq war. Jeez, from back then in the 80s? Oh my goodness.
Effective
before I was even born. Part of it was fear-mongering over there getting control of the nuclear program the Shah had going. Gotcha.
Because it prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, and the International Atomic Energy Agency went in and they inspected multiple times, and they confirmed, yeah, they're in compliance. You want to know who wasn't in compliance with the deal? United States, baby, because we reneged on that deal. Trump did specifically in his first term, and reimposed sanctions. Like, part of the reason why they agreed to it was because we eased up on the sanctions. But Trump said, nope, I'm going to sanction them again. And we violated the deal. So they were in compliance. We were not. But Trump, he tore up that agreement in his first term, and now he's threatening to invade them if they don't agree to an agreement like the one that he tore up a couple of years ago. Make it make sense. And I think that the former head of the IAEA put it best when he said the U.S. is intensive.
Nothing there's literally nothing to make sense here. There's like several there's several things that are happening here. Okay, number one, hey, look at that. Everyone stopped talking about the Epstein files, right? Look how convenient. Number two, we're obviously captured by Israeli foreign interests. So this is probably also being done at the behest of Netanyahu. So that's two. And number three, we need war. We need war to continue. Because another possibility, I think, Nadia pointed out, this is a perfect excuse for potentially calling off the midterms or increasing the state power, the fear mongering, post, this reminds me of post 9/11 kind of deal. So yeah, all of this kind of melds together. I mean, war's a racket, right? War's good for business, for the military industrial complex, right? So there's that too. They've been fear-mongering about independent Iranians getting nuclear weapons since 1979. Eesh. What's an Iran redux? But then why, about great message for anti-nuclear proliferation, but then why, think about actions before taking them? The what files? Why are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? What if we wake up tomorrow to 100% wind power infrastructure in Iran? Yeah, we still have to bomb them. Because they're a terrorist state that needs to be obliterated, right? Whatever. The excuses will continue. It could be the case that, tomorrow we wake up and, the war's over, right? Because all Trump wanted to do was short the market again. I've been unknown amount behind. Oh, sorry. Yeah, just
drumbeat of war
catch
against
up.
Iran with zero explanation of the non-existent legal authority to use force and zero evidence of an imminent threat other than hypothetical scenarios based on possible future intentions. And he's exactly right. Iran is not a threat to us. We are a threat to them. And the entire basis of their warmongering is the promise that they're definitely going to attack.
Yeah, also, like the Pentagon stated that the Pentagon said that there's no threat from Iran at all. Like they said that Iran poses absolutely no threat. So yeah, this is all just BS because Trump needs a distraction. Netanyahu needs his war. The evangelicals need this apocalyptic scenario to happen to bring the second coming of Jesus. There's like a lot of reasons as to why this is happening. And it just so happens that Trump is like crazy enough to go with it, with all these different kind of forces moving in the same direction. And Trump just happens to be the perfect vehicle to be Trump just happens to be the perfect vehicle for all of these forces to kind of drive together in this nightmare rotation Uber drive right towards the abyss. Yeah, and they're all terrible. Iran won't unblock the Straits of Hormuz for Trump's convenience. Agreed. The Strait of Hormuz is at this point blocked as far as we know. It's very clear that traffic has basically dropped off a cliff off the Strait of Hormuz, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. There's people stuck at airports in the entire Middle East, essentially. And that also has caused a lot of problems. I mean, like, yeah, this is a very serious situation. Looney Tunes, welcome. Yeah, it seems the YouTube stuff has been fixed, but I'll do Latino Trump for Spanish Trump for one more time. ¿Qué pasa, perdedores despiertos woke? Es tu estúpido presidente favorito yo, que quiere dejarte arrollar la guerra que inicié para decirte que no hay más. No estoy en los malditos archivos. Epstein, ¿quién es Epstein? Yo no lo conozco.
Us one day, or our allies at some point. Just you wait. It's honestly really insulting because I feel like Americans should be offended with how dumb they think we are. I mean,
true. Look, I'm gonna work and massage the Trump, impression. Eventually, I'll get it. You know that I gotta do the accordion hands. But then I smack the mic, and when I smack the mic, it doesn't sound very good, and then your ears, they go pop, 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 pop.
To be clear, most of us are indeed very gullible, but they're not even trying to sell it to us, which they should be doing in theory, especially because they just convinced us last year, or supposedly convinced most of us, that they obliterated the nuclear program. So less than a year later, you would think they'd put in at least a little bit more effort to make it seem.
Also, I need to get the breathing down too. I gotta get the breathing down as well.
Unbelievable, but they're like, I don't know, just go with the nuclear lie again. Like, it's crazy. It's like we're living in a parody of reality. So either, the U.S. government is incompetent, or Iran just really is the greatest threat in the history of greatest threats who can't be stopped by the mightiest of militaries. Whatever the...
No, it's like, it's not incompetence, really. It's more like they know what they're doing. It's just that the excuse that they're giving is so absurd. Because there is no excuse. They're just doing it. They just went in there and started a war with Iran, because, right, of all the aforementioned excuses, whether it be as a distraction to the Epstein files, as a gift to the military industrial complex, as bending over to the will of Netanyahu. And the crazy evangelicals who want to bring the second coming of Jesus, like all of these things, are why we're here. Your only hope left, Iran. You do. They're eating the cat, and some of them are good people in Spanish. If I think about it, maybe.
Excuse maybe. Just know that they are not doing a good job at selling
coming
it.
of
We are
Jeebus.
not
Jeebus
wanting
Christ.
regime change, but the person that's leading this effort is the Ayatollah. Remember in 1979 when he came to power, he was saying,
Yeah, and the Ayatollah is dead, and guess what? There's just going to be another guy. Okay, it's rumored. It's rumored that his grandson, his grandson might be inheriting the mantle of the Ayatollah. This is absurd. Okay, this is not like Iraq at all. And Tracker, this could have been done in 1979. No, it couldn't have been done at all. Actually, we should just stay out of the business that doesn't belong to us.
saying that he wanted to be a nuclear Iran, and we have been preventing that from taking place. And when we stopped bombing them, because we could have obliterated them and him during the 12-day war, we chose not to because he said he wasn't going to pursue it. Now that he is pursuing it, the one person that's
They literally said they were not pursuing any nuclear weapons. Also, who cares? It's none of our business, okay? Let's say that's true and they did want nuclear weapons. How come they don't get to have nukes and we do? Okay? How come we get to go into other countries, okay, and kidnap a president of a country we don't like, right? Like Venezuela, or threaten Cuba or whatever, but other countries can't. What? The other countries are not allowed to do X, Y, or Z? Like this is hypocrisy on a monumental level. But of course that doesn't matter. Should have been done in 1979 when they attacked the U.S. Embassy. Well, what are you talking about? What should have been done? They might drill stuck to ask me what I said back then. What are you talking about? Khamenei is the guy that they murdered this weekend. Yep. And again, like, if we're so scared about the nukes, maybe we should set the example by disarming ourselves. I agree.
driving this is the Ayatollah. That one person may have to be removed, but we don't think he's suicidal, but maybe he is.
Well, I'm not so sure that it's possible for him to be suicidal, seeing as how the Ayatollah that he's referring to has been dead since 1989. But I'm sure he knows this, right? The senator who's trying to sell us on a war knows it was a completely different guy who made the comment about the nukes that he was talking about, right? I'm sure he's not that ignorant. That can't be the case, right? It's not like the people selling us a war are stupid, right? I'll let you answer that question yourself, but I'll let him continue.
If we obliterated it, we being the United States last summer, then why are you worried about it right now?
The successors are much more hardline. Yeah, wow. So I mean, like, you know what? This is all insanity. This is insanity. I hope the white supremacist capitalist bastards ultimately regret deposing Maslow in 1953. This is all happening because of that event, and the U.S. neocons holding a grudge against Iran since deposing the U.S. puppet in 1979. Well, actually, our embassy with our people in it because our people signed a contract that says expendable. I wanted to test that. I was in boot camp at the time. What are you talking about, dude? I want to thank. I want to thank my Latina cousin from Mexico. Mexico. They're bringing all the drugs, filling in for your favorite president. They're having a big problem there. They're bringing all the problems here after being silenced by YouTube. Shut up, YouTube. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Because they're rebuilding it, and you can see them rebuilding it.
But it was
not
obliterated.
enriching. Well, but it doesn't mean you can't rebuild. I mean, people have car accidents and obliterate their bones and their legs, and yet they can still put, metal back in them and walk.
What is he talking about? So wait a minute. So we obliterated their nuclear program, but they rebuilt it. So that's why we have to cause all this bombing and death. Got it. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah, I understand.
Walk again.
But I think if it was obliterated in June, how is it February, and we're now, as Steve Witkoff put it, a week away from Iran having this?
I don't know. I can't speak for Steve. I haven't got those reports, and I've been read in on some of these programs.
Sure. Listen, Mark Wayne.
Rewind
Can I call you Mark
please?
because I feel
Over
like
here.
it's not fair for you to have two names. It's not like the people selling us a war are stupid, right? I'll let you answer that question yourself, but I'll let him continue.
If we obliterated it, we being the United States last
So
summer.
sorry you're dumb and young. I don't have the time in my life to go through the history. I can't even go read if you know how. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, saying I'm young and dumb, which is hilarious. When I'm trying to clarify what the F you're talking about, right? Like, what are you talking about? Are you saying that this is good? That what we're doing is good? How much of a difference would it have been if we went to war with Iran in 79 or whatever, or now, right? This is like justifying the global war on terror in 2003. This is insanity. Anyone's justifying it, just like you are the reason why American troops are going to die, okay? Trying to justify this crap are the reason why civilians, 160 something kids are dead. Yeah, that's on you because of people like you. If you're trying to justify this crap,
then why are you worried about it right now?
having the audacity to try to be condescending. Nice try, dude. Pretty sure they also outed themselves as a boomer. Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, the gall of the boomer generation coming in here and saying this is astounding to me. Assuming, right?
Building it, and you can see them rebuilding it.
But it was
not
obliterated.
enriching. Well, but it doesn't mean you can't rebuild. I mean, people have car accidents and obliterate their bones and their legs, and yet they can still put, metal back in them and walk again.
But I think if it was obliterated in June, how is it February, and we're now, as Steve Witkoff put it, a week away from Iran having this?
I don't know. I can't speak for Steve. I haven't got those reports, and I've been read in on
If you think it's such a good idea, why don't you get out there?
These programs.
Sure. Listen, Mark Wayne, can I call you Mark? Because I feel like it's not fair for you to have two names when the rest of us can only have one name. So save some names for the rest of us, Mark. But anyways, Mark, I'm going to make it easier for you, okay? If you want to get Americans to agree to a war, just pretend like it's for humanitarian purposes. Like, it's a much easier sell if you frame it as us being the good guys, because I think that the Iraq war has kind of taught Americans that the threat lie doesn't really work, even when you present evidence before the UN. So just lie.
Yeah, you keep saying that word. I don't think I don't think it means what you think it means. So give your last measure of full devotion to the government of the United States for the Epstein class. Yep.
And say that it's for humanitarian purposes. That's far more, I think, digestible for Americans. But that is more effective because that has been the lie that I think
Schumer is a Zionist, yes.
You can't really argue against, because if you're opposed to humanitarian intervention, then you're the bad guy, right? You want people to suffer. So that's why if I were the one who was forced to lie, I'd probably go with that. Not that I would ever lie about war, but like that's just the easier sell. And it's what Tommy Tuberville is doing. And you can really see just how concerned he is for the well-being of the people in Iran and the people around the world. Just take a look at his face. He's very, very concerned.
We really have no choice. We've got to find a way to take out that corrupt leadership that they have, protect their people as well as people all over the world.
Yeah, protecting their people by bombing them. Yeah, tell that to the children that are that were freaking dusted. Okay? Yeah, protecting their people, protecting the Iranian people. Tell that to the children that we dusted, okay, with bombs. Okay, you could see the backpacks, by the way, on the rubble of the children, of the children, the Iranian people that you're claiming to want to protect. If you want to know like what the play is here, if you want to know what the play is here, like just honestly, just go back to 2001, circa 2001 to 2003, and like exactly the same lines that are coming in the pipeline to justify this nonsense. Okay, I mean, like we literally said like a couple days ago that like if this stuff happens, it's gonna happen during the weekend, and here we are, at war with Iran. Of all the concern trolling from the so-called elected representatives of government that couldn't more obviously not couldn't more obviously not care about to take care of even their own supposed constituents, right? Like, and then like the question would be, right, like, hey, that's cool that you want to protect the people of Iran, so but you also claim to be America first, so what are we doing on that front? Do we want healthcare? No, that's socialism. Do we want to make sure that people have food? No, that's socialism. Do you want to make sure that people have housing, education? No, that's socialism. Yeah, then kindly, sir, with all the due respect of basically nothing, go fuck yourself.
We got to leave it there real quick to understand it's your granddaughter's first birthday, correct?
Rosie Grace, 1 year old today.
Lives are at stake here. We have to take out this regime to protect the people of Iran, and I won't rest until these criminals are brought to justice. What? Oh, actually, yes, it is my granddaughter's first birthday. She is such a queen. Yes. Do you want to see photographs? Bro.
We should never forget there is an inherent cruelty in the U.S. asking Iranians to overthrow the government with just the citizenry when they don't have a buy-in from the military. Also, right, like, we have no business in that, okay? By us doing that, by us going in there, okay, and causing this dangerous and volatile situation, we are putting whatever revolutionary spirit or movement that the Iranian people might have had, okay, to try to, like, you know, further their own democracy or further their own country, that's gone. You know why? Because the repressive regime, right, is just going to say, you know what, this is true. Look at these are just United States puppet plants. These are just Israeli puppet plants. There is actually no real revolution. Okay, this has all been planted by the United States government, so that justifies us in taking all this out. It just literally takes the wind out of any possible sails that any revolutionary movement might have had to try to make their place a better. Right, because again, the Shah, or not the Shah, the current Iranian government is not a good government. Okay, it's not a good government. But that is not for us to decide, and the Iranian people have to be the ones to have that self-determination and do it, you know, their way. Okay, the Iranian people were protesting this government. Absolutely. But for us to go in there and do this is counterproductive to the supposed goal of democracy in Iran. The problem is truly the demonization of Marx's explanation of a healthy economic system and its evolution from communism through capitalism to socialism and beyond to utopia. They're just shameless in their hypocrisy because they don't care about principles except whatever they perceive to be just pure self-aggrandizement. Whatever they need to do might makes right. Yeah, I agree.
You're not even fucking trying. Like, even before they made that jarring segue, though, you could just see the concern oozing out of him. Like, I know that they're going to lie, but at least put a little more oomph into it. Try to impress us. Like, take a single theater class before you try to sell us on a war, because what you're doing is just the most low-effort bullshit ever. Now, look, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. There is no such thing as a humanitarian war.
Yeah,
as bad as conditions are due to what a regime is doing.
That is oxymoronic. You can't have... That's not a thing, right? Like, by definition, right? There might be justified wars, like there might be justification for going to war against like a fascist regime, but to say that this is like war isn't humanitarian by definition, even if you're trying to do the liberation, right? Only the class war, which is entirely a different sort of thing.
Murdering hundreds of thousands of innocent people is not a solution to a humanitarian crisis. It is antithetical to humanitarianism.
Yes.
And if you trust
Marx was allowed to be studied similar to math and English and not just political science when he was an economist first, was to the detriment of today.
U.S. government to be a humanitarian.
Yeah. by design.
An actor, then I've got a bridge to sell you, because they don't give a fuck about anyone around the world, not Iranians, not even Americans. Like, they're doing a genocide in Palestine. So they don't care about human beings. They don't care about humanitarian issues. But if you couldn't already tell, they're having a very difficult time trying to convince the public that another war in the Middle East is indeed a good idea. Not that they give a shit about whether or not we want that in the first place, but they would prefer to at least have some buy-in from the public, because that makes them look better. And they do care about optics, because after all, this regime consists of wannabe social media stars who want to be loved, and, you know, they'll fake it till they make it, but they'd like it to be authentic. But, you know, since none of the typical lies are working, they're trying to basically get dragged into a war begrudgingly. That to them is going to be the safest way to do this. And I say that because Politico reports that the White House actually thinks that the politics would be better if Israel attacked Iran first, and then we'd have no choice but to intervene. Quote, there's thinking in and around the administration that the politics are a lot better if the Israelis go first and alone, and the Iranians retaliate against us and give us more reason to take action, said one of the people familiar with the discussions. So this is basically the global equivalent of you daring somebody to hit you, so that way they'll get the assault charge while you get to claim self-defense. But whether or not this is actually going to...
Yeah, that doesn't fly either, right? Like, you can't claim to be on the moral high ground when you're the one that's trying to encourage, when you're the one that's trying to encourage this, you know, to begin with, right? You're goading someone into a fight. When will the boomers learn that their effing Leave It to Beaver era is over?
Happen? I genuinely don't know. Like, they went to war with Iran before, so they would obviously do it again, and they're building up a huge fleet of aircraft carriers and whatnot in the Middle East, so that's very alarming. Is it all just a negotiating tactic? Who knows? Trump is a drama queen, but at this point in time, I don't know what's going to happen, because we're getting mixed messages. On one hand, Politico argues that the shift in rhetoric suggests that they really are gearing up for war. But on the other hand, Phil Gordon, who served as a foreign policy advisor to Democrats, says that the White House might just be exaggerating the scope of the urgency in order to put more pressure on Iran. Who really knows? Moreover, Israeli media and Lindsey Graham are sounding the alarm because they fear that Trump may be getting cold feet about war with Iran, which might be the real sign that things are leaning in the correct direction. But nobody knows for sure, not even Donald Trump, because even if he agrees to not bomb them, he could change his mind 5 minutes later. So we won't know until it happens or doesn't happen. But Democrats, they seem equally conflicted, because earlier this week, Chuck Schumer signaled his support for war with Iran following a closed-door briefing, and he said that Trump just has to make the case to the American people, and kind of hinted that, yeah, he'd go along with it if Trump was able to do that. And after that, journalist Ida Chavez reported that Dem leadership was quietly trying to kill a floor vote on Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie's war powers resolution. But as Dropsite News reports, House Democrats are actually going to force a vote on it overall. And to be clear, they all do want war with Iran, despite what their public positions are, because they're all funded by Israel, and Israel gets what Israel wants. But I'm wondering if at least House leadership had to acquiesce because the war powers resolution was just gaining too much momentum for them to be able to stop it. But having said that, they don't really have a reason to stop it, even if they support war with Iran, because if it reaches Trump's desk, he can simply veto it like that. And that's what I expect him to do. That's what he did the last time the war powers resolution hit his desk, when Congress agreed to stop U.S.'s complicity with Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen. So, you know, if they were to stop this, it'd be dumb, because allowing it to go through would allow them to vote against it, thus giving them plausible deniability, and they'd still get the outcome that they want in the end. It'd be a win-win for them. And this has been what their planning was, as also reported by Dropsite News. But I really don't know. You could find out this weekend whether or not we're going to go to war with Iran. And even if it doesn't happen this weekend, it could still happen in the next week or next weekend. We don't know. But if it does happen, I hope it doesn't, but if it does happen, just know that whatever justification they ultimately choose to go with, it will be complete and utter bullshit. It's just a matter of which lie they choose to use. There is no legitimate reason to go to war with Iran. They are not a threat to us, and they wouldn't be a threat to us even if they had nuclear weapons, because it would be to deter U.S. aggression. So please, whatever you do, don't let them fool you into another war. The real international threat to peace and stability is the United States government.
Yeah.
And no, that's not my opinion. I'm not just anti-American. That is an objective fact of reality, regardless if we recognize it or not.
Hans, welcome. There's certainly a period of time where the policy in Ireland was not so much up to the Irish as to the English. Not the schlongs. Wait, what are you all talking about? Make believe? Anyways, yeah, so war with Iran, huh?
The state of Kansas this week, on Thursday morning, informed every transgender citizen of Kansas that their driver's license was now completely invalid and that they must surrender their driver's licenses and then pay out of pocket to get a new one. The reason for this is because in January of this year, the state of Kansas passed a law. It was vetoed by the Democratic governor of the state, but unfortunately, the Republican-controlled legislature overrode the veto, passing SB 244. And SB 244 makes any past gender change on your license or ID card immediately invalid. And it went into
I know this has probably been circling around for a while, since it came out these last couple of days, but since the media cycle tends to move pretty quickly, I'm bringing it back because this is seriously important, especially if you live in the state of Kansas. Okay, and more importantly, okay, if this ends up working, okay, because they have passed it. This is legislation that the state of Kansas has successfully passed. Okay, this is not we're waiting for the Senate, we're waiting for the House. No, this is legislation that was successfully passed after they overrode the governor's veto. And if this is successful and they're able to deploy this like they want to and how it seems to work, pay very close attention, folks, because this is going to come to your red state near you. If this works as intended, which I believe so far it seems like they've been able to pass it this far, if it doesn't get struck down, if it doesn't get challenged in court, this is going to be a blueprint for other red states with super majority in the legislature. Okay, so regardless of governor or red states with Republican legislation plus Republican governorship willing to do this, it's going to spread if this works, much like other copycat laws in the past, for example abortion laws, things like that. I'm trans in Indiana and therefore have been watching the story very closely since it came on my radar last week. Yes, and this is exactly why I'm bringing it back, because I know that the cycle is moving very quickly, and we're also dealing with a war essentially on our doorstep. But this is very important, and before the next cycle happens, I want to bring it back so people can pay attention to what's happening here, because I guarantee that if this works out like it presumably is happening right now, this is not going to end at Kansas. This is not going to end at Kansas. This is most likely going to spread in other copycat bills in other states. Make no mistake about it, folks. Make no mistake about it.
Effect Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So Wednesday at like midnight or Thursday at midnight, however you want to slice that. And if a transgender person who has changed their gender on their ID card gets
we're
caught
fighting on
driving a
multiple
car,
fronts.
it is now a Class B misdemeanor, punishable by a fine of up to $5,000 or 6 months.
Yeah, the war on the wrong 1%.
In prison. Now, here's what's weird about this SB 44 legislation, or SB 244. It doesn't prevent transgender individuals from changing the sex on their license. They can still do that. It just makes all past changes of gender identity invalid. So if you're male to female or female to male, and you had already changed your license prior to January, that's now invalid. But when you go to get a new one, you can still put your gender identity on there. But you do have to pay for a new one. So this legislation was designed only to create an unnecessary hassle for transgender people, to make them pay a little bit more money and to have to go through this ordeal for no reason whatsoever.
Well, the reason is the cruelty, right? Like that's the reason. The reason is discrimination. The reason is cruelty, right? That's the reason. Logically, of course, it makes no sense. But yeah, the reason is simply to be cruel. That's it. Who the hell is this woke guy with the bald head, and the beard, the mustache? Cancel him immediately. He definitely looks like he works for a failing news station, fake news, part of fake news. You are fake news. Ooh, I almost took out my throat with that one.
Because again, it's not saying you can't ever change the gender on your license. You can. But if you already did it, you come back and do it again. Just for the hell of it, right? Just because we want a little more money in our bankrupt state.
Right. Effectively, it's a poll tax. I would argue that effectively is a poll tax. Because that's you would kind of need that, right, to be able to move about. And presumably, right, your registration is linked to your ID, or am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I thought your ID is attached to your voting registration. At least that's how automatically it works. I guess maybe it's a state to state thing. I could be wrong. MAGA's tyranny is attacking our immigrants, our poor, our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. Our institutions are very existential ideological grip on reality. Yep. 100%. Sisyphean task, welcome.
The cruelty is the point. The cruelty is always the point.
Yep.
Creating hassles and hurdles and targeting an already marginalized community.
Yep.
That is what Republicans do best.
Yep.
There is not a single person in the state of Kansas that is better off in their personal life because of the passage of this bill.
Yep.
So the average Kansan out there, the farmers, construction workers.
Yeah, by the way, this bill is literally targeting about 1,700 people, by the way. That's what this bill is targeting. Roughly about 1,700 people, okay?
Even the office workers, right? And you're not transgender, okay? So this didn't even impact you at all. But let me ask you this. How did your life change for the better because of this legislation being passed?
Yeah, of course, it doesn't. It doesn't change for the better. It's not designed to do that. It's designed to do one thing and one thing only, which is discriminate and be as hateful as possible to a group of people that all they want to do is be left alone, and that's it.
Right? I mean, you all supported this. You voted for the assholes in the state legislature who did this. So explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, how targeting these people helped your life, how it improved your state. I will be sitting right here waiting for that explanation from any conservative in the state of Kansas to give to me.
Oh,
and I
no.
guarantee you,
my friend,
if I actually
my friend, my brother in Christ, you're not gonna get you're not gonna get an actual like legitimate explanation from these people. That's just not gonna happen. There's not gonna be a logical explanation, okay, like at all, from these people. So I wouldn't hold my breath at all.
Sit here and wait for that. I'll be dead before any of those idiots can come up with a valid, reasonable explanation as to how their lives are better by creating hassles and hurdles and further targeting the transgender community in their state, which, by the way, is only about 1,500 total people. Stories like that, honest to God, like, genuinely make my blood boil. I am sick of this. I am so damn sick of these Republicans running on culture war issues, convincing the dumbest people in this country that if we go after transgender people, it's going to help your life. And we are collectively, as a voting people, so goddamn dumb that they fall for it. And they do this.
Yeah, because a lot of it has to do...
Oh yeah, let's go after those people.
Yeah, because there's no critical thinking, right? Like the right wing has no ability to do critical thinking. That's why they're in the right. Okay, that's why they're right wing. Critical thinking is highly discouraged. Okay, asking questions is highly discouraged in the right wing. You're supposed to just fall in line, vote Republican, and that's it. And if you start to come to the conclusion that, hey, maybe some of these things aren't making my life better, then you will be excommunicated from the group, right? Like that's how this works. There is no critical thinking. There's only obedience, because it is by definition a authoritarian movement. It's by definition an authoritarian movement. The only thing that you're allowed to do is comply. Listen to what the cult leaders say. Listen to what the Republican Party say. And if your parents are Republican, then you need to be Republican, because that's just the way things are. That's kind of where we're at.
Make me feel so much better when I'm out there plowing the fields. Oh no, my farm is destroyed from tariffs. Oh, poor me. Somebody have sympathy for me. Somebody help me. There's so many horrible, horrible things I want to say right now to all those people. Thanks for watching, and if you are not already subscribed to the channel, please do so, and do not forget to...
This is also frustrating. This is also frustrating that because, like, a group of people hate trans people so much because that's what they're told, because just the same way as they're told that, you know, gay people or anyone that's like non-conforming to the normative you know, whatever's normal, right? It's just so depressing and annoying and infuriating, because like, just leave these people alone, okay? Leave these people alone. Jesus Christ. Anyways. More lies from Secretary Pete Hegseth. Hegseth insists Iran conflict is not endless while warning more casualties are likely. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Trump has reiterated this already in his quote-unquote speech. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth spoke on Monday. Is today Monday? Today, yeah, I think it is Monday. Who knows anymore? To widening concerns that the U.S.-Israeli strike, war, and attack against Iran could spiral into a protracted regional conflict by declaring this is not Iraq. You got that right. This is not endless. This is worse. Even warned that more American casualties are likely in the weeks ahead. So this is going to presumably last for weeks, folks. So pay attention and brace yourselves, because we are going to be here for a while. While the Trump administration has cited Iran's nuclear ambitions, which again, and shame on the AP, Iran doesn't have nuclear ambitions. It never did. And the fact that they're even putting this is pretty disgusting, okay? But anyways, as chief concern to be addressed, again, the media shouldn't be the media shouldn't be like preemptively, essentially justifying the administration's position, or rather the media shouldn't be legitimizing the administration's behavior before anything is actually known. They should instead be reporting in a way that should reflect reality, like, for example, saying, the Trump administration has decided to unilaterally with Israel to attack unprovoked and unprecedented attack against Iran, with the loose and false pretense that Iran has some kind of nuclear ambition. Okay, that would be more or less a more accurate way of putting it. But anyways, yeah, a Shrek quote. The Lord Farquaad position. Yep, we know no war is endless, but we know this war has gone on for far too longer. Yep. An insane thing to say in a political speech. Yep. Literally, that's what he said. He said, expect American casualties. And that's just war. Or something to that. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But he said, expect American casualties, because that's just what happens in war. F the AP. F the mainstream media overall. I mean, like, the AP should know better, because they're usually a bit more neutral. But, like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad. Officials increasingly are pointing to the threat from Iran's ballistic missiles as a key reason to launch attacks, as well as an opportunity to take out the government's leadership. But, like, so it's not nuclear ambitions; it's the ballistic missiles. You see, like, this is how ridiculous this all sounds. As a key reason to launch the attacks, as well as an opportunity to take out the government's leadership, and the sense that negotiations around the nuclear program have stalled because the Americans have done so. Okay, there's no evidence to suggest that the Iranians are the ones that are messing up the negotiations. Yeah, suckers and losers, as some nutter president once said. Yeah. Trump said on Monday that Iran's conventional missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas. Well, then maybe America and their forces stationed overseas should go home. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and I I understand that I haven't been in school for a while, and I haven't taken a geography class in a minute and a half. But correct me if I'm wrong. But America is not in the Middle East. Okay, as far as I know, okay, and somebody can correct me in chat. As far as I know, America is not in the Middle East. So to say that this poses a colossal threat to America is insane. Hegseth said at a separate press conference with General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chief of Staffs, that the operation had a decisive mission to eliminate the threat of Iranian ballistic missiles, destroy the country's navy, and ensure no nukes. Fantastic. Trump, Hegseth, and Kane had not suggested any exit plan or offered signs that the conflict would end anytime soon, as the killing of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah had cast doubt on the future of the Islamic Republic and hurled the region into a broader instability. Kane said the biggest U.S. military buildup in the Middle East in decades would only grow because the commander in the region will receive additional forces even today. Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while, it seems. I mean, like, this is absurd. This is absurd. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is insane. This is disgusting. Remember, folks, I've called dead troops losers and suckers. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change. It didn't. It didn't? What? This is a clown. Hey, was Pete Hegseth in chat earlier? I'm confused. Was Pete Hegseth in chat? The regime sure did change, and the world is better for it, Hegseth said. He added that there was no nation-building quagmire and no democracy-building exercise. So in other words, they're just gonna bomb, okay? They're just gonna bomb Iran and just fight them because... Yes, it's wrong on all sorts of levels, on every level. Yes. I don't know, I heard Ohio is in the middle, is in the Midwest. 20 years wars are in the new norm. It's in the corporate bylaws. We know the reason. American weapons companies want war. Yeah, I'm sure. Cream cookies rule everything around me. Oh, now I want cookies. Y'all are too much. Trump, however, in a video statement released after the strikes began, urged members of the Iranian paramilitary Revolutionary Guard and military police to lay down their arms and for the Iranian people to take back your country. The conflict has spiraled into the wider region, with Iran and its allied armed groups launching missiles at Israel, Arab states, and U.S. military targets in the Middle East. 6 American troops have been killed in action. Again, anyone who supports this, that's on you, okay? Anyone who supports this, any Trump supporter who voted for Trump, by the way, any Trump supporter who voted for this, that's on you, okay? This is on you. This is on you. You were warned this guy is crazy, okay? You were warned that this guy is not a peaceful person, okay? You were warned that this dude is unstable, okay? And that would do something like this. In fact, he's talked about this before. With Trump, Hegseth, and Kane predicting more U.S. casualties. The top defense leader did not offer detail on the circumstances of troops' deaths. We agree with you and we will never forget you, Kane said of the troops killed and their family members. Yeah, miss me with that bullshit, okay? Miss me with that bullshit, okay? Nobody's buying this, okay? You don't give a flying F about any of them, okay? You don't give a flying F about the Iranian citizens. The children that you vaporized, you don't care about them. You don't care about the troops. You don't care about American people. So F you, man. Seriously. The latest sign of the escalating upheaval came when the U.S. military said ally Kuwait mistakenly shot down 3 American fighter jets during a combat mission as Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles, and drones were attacking. So, in other words, they blew up tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer money, by the way. It's not, no, we're not just losing American lives as well. But yeah, this is all like to the tune of tens of millions or more, just gone. In just this one little incident, okay? Not to mention all the amount of money that we're spending with all these missiles, all these aircraft, all these ships. This is insanity. This is insanity, and this guy needs to be impeached, removed, convicted, and in jail. This guy needs to be in jail. And everyone around him who supported this, everyone who's in cahoots with this guy, with the Trump and Hegseth and Marco Rubio to make this illegal war, not just what they did in Venezuela, but what they're doing now. This is insanity. I also have some marzipan. Nice. The white left-wing man is critically endangered of extinction by the white nationalist far right. I don't think so. As we've seen with Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think that's kind of like, I don't think so. U.S. Central Command said all 6 pilots ejected safely from the American F-15 Strike Eagles and were stable condition. Asked there's boots on the ground now with Iran. He said no, but we're not going into the exercise of what we will or will not do. Yeah, that's gonna be oof. If there's actual boots on the ground, forget about it, folks. We're not gonna be here weeks, okay? If there's actual boots on the ground, you can quote me on this one. You can mark my words. If there's boots on the ground, okay, if there's a ground invasion of Iran, this isn't weeks, okay? This is not weeks. It would be exponentially longer than that, and we will never achieve a full occupation of Iran, okay? That's not gonna happen. He said it was foolishness to expect U.S. officials to say publicly, here's exactly how far we'll go. Trump told the New York Post on Monday he wasn't ruling out U.S. forces in Iran if they were necessary. I don't have the yips with respect to boots on the ground. He said at the White House, Trump said the U.S. expected mission could take 4 to 5 weeks, but we have the capability to go for longer than that. So yeah, folks. Yeah. You wanna talk about gas prices? You want to talk about gas prices? Hey, MAGA, how's the gas prices, huh? How's the gas prices going? How are them gas prices? Hagsbreath, the U.S. Secretary of War Crimes. One second. You think there'd be a national strike just because people literally couldn't get back to work if gas hit $10 a gallon? Maybe. Inshallah. I could also go for a bit of the opposite. Yeah, I want the opposite of everything that's happening right now. Believe me. I not even qualify the definition of a true national strike in the sense that it's involuntary and externally imposed. I mean, yeah, but I mean... If it makes people wake up and realize what this is all BS, and we can at any given point we can all decide collectively that enough is enough, you know. I mean, I'll take it. Hegseth dismissed questions about the time frame at his briefing and said Trump had latitude to decide how long it would take. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, it could move up, it could move back. Fantastic. In laying out the case for the strikes, Hegseth did not point to any imminent nuclear threat from Iran, which we were told this was the whole thing, and said again that the strikes by the U.S. and Israel last June obliterated that nuclear program to rubble. Fantastic. Instead, Hegseth pointed to threats from other weaponry, such as ballistic missiles and drones, that justified the operation. Iran was building powerful missiles and drones to create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Sure. Hey, it's Violet. I'm just silenced by YouTube at the moment. Well, welcome in, Violet Quinlaw. Welcome. He added, our bases, our people, our allies, all in the crosshairs. Iran had a conventional gun to our head as they tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. That's not true. Also, you know, you could always just, you know, take your troops out of there. At any given point, you can do that. You can take your troops out of the Middle East at any given point. Hegseth said during the negotiations leading up to the attack, Iranian officials were stalling despite having every chance to make a peaceful and sensible deal. Hegseth he also justified the operation by describing Iran's government as having started a conflict from its inception, declaring that for 47 years it had waged a savage one-sided war against America. Oh, well, I mean, geez, okay. Sure, yeah, this makes total freaking sense. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Saying that Iran actually was the one who started this? I'm sorry. Who? This is 1984 stuff, right? Like, war is peace, folks, okay? War is peace. Actually, we were always at war with Oceania. What? I'm sorry. I missed the part where for 47 years we were fighting Iran. Yeah, it's completely upside down. Law Israeli human shields logic. Yep. All the bases we set up there to surround them. Yeah, and yet they're the threat. In a private briefing Sunday, the Trump administration officials told congressional staffers that U.S. intelligence did not suggest Iran was preparing to launch a preemptive strike against the U.S. So, in other words, not a threat. This should be at the beginning. Jesus Christ. This information should be out there up front. Yeah, how dare Iran place a country next to our military bases? Right. We all know we've been at war with East Asia. Yeah, I must have totally missed that. I must have totally missed that war. Trump, a Republican, thanks, said the objective of mission was to eliminate the imminent threats from the Iranian regime, and senior Trump administration officials who were not authorized to comment publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity told reporters on Saturday that there were indicators that the Iranians could launch a preemptive attack, even though the damn Pentagon said that they weren't. As with the attack that dropped massive bunker buster bombs on Iranian nuclear facilities, Nasir Kane said that the military used B-2 stealth bombers in a new operation with a 37-hour round trip. He said the penetrating bombs were dropped on Iranian underground facilities, but did not specify that they were nuclear facilities. Nuclear sites were not among the types of targets on a list released over the weekend by U.S. Central Command, which said the military had struck more than 1,000 targets. The administration said Israel and the U.S. bombed Iranian missile sites and targeted its navy, claiming to have destroyed its headquarters and multiple warships. Kane on Monday referenced the use of cyber technology, saying the U.S. effectively disrupted communications and sensor networks that left the adversary without the ability to coordinate or respond effectively. Without specifics, Kane said the military uses delivered synchronized and layered effects designed to disrupt, degrade, deny, and destroy Iran's ability to conduct and sustain combat operations on the U.S. side. Kane said Trump gave the go-ahead order for the strikes at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday. That meant the president gave the green light when he was aboard Air Force One heading to Texas. Republican Senator Cruz and John Cornyn and actor Dennis Quaid. They struck 3 different primary schools. Yep. Trump has called immigrant children a threat. I don't think he knows what a threat is. A threat to him is like basically a brown person. Essentially, that's what Trump perceives as a threat. So yeah. Hegseth and Kane spoke hours before. Secretary Little Marco planned to brief congressional leadership, so they did this before. So they did this before even notifying Congress. That's fantastic. Rubio, Hegseth, and Kane and CIA Director John Radcliffe also were set to brief the full membership of Congress on Tuesday. NORA first targeter picks a primary school and their top targets. It was AI. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that they were using a program that supposedly they were not supposed to be using. Something about the company that they were having beef with. I forget the name of the company. And so presumably I'm gonna speak out of ignorance, so that's why I haven't made a mention of it. But something to the effect of like, yeah, they kind of used AI to do this from a company that explicitly told them that they couldn't, or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna speak on that because I don't know the complete details. I'm gonna be honest. Although, to be fair, Violet, the Israeli military has no qualms about bombing, schools as they've done. So that is also a possibility. Because the Israeli military has absolutely no qualms about bombing children. So, the most moral army. The most moral army. The company said don't use it, and the government used it anyway. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so I'm more or less I'm in within the ballpark of what I'm thinking that of what I'm presuming what you're talking about, Violet. Thank you, Michael Hasser. I'm presumably more or less in the ballpark of what I was reading earlier. Actually, I needed that reminder on this account. I only got it back a few days ago. I don't think Iran was putting AA in schools, though. They know they have no qualms. They know, yeah, that's true. Well, folks, I guess strap in. We're gonna probably be here for weeks at this point with this war against Iran. I don't know what else needs to be said other than this is disgusting. We need people protesting against this. We need people to constantly call their representatives. We need people out there on the streets. If you want to know what the propaganda is going to look like going forward for the next whatever amount, you only have to go back to circa 2001 to 2003. And you can kind of see how the propaganda machine works with regards to the justification of this war. I'm sure they are using AI for targets. I wouldn't be surprised at all. At all. Why are you surprised Israel has a Nazi regime? They have already hit hospitals also. Yep. And Israel's not beneath hitting hospitals either. So yeah. Yeah. The most moral army, by the way, I was told. I was told. There we go. I was told the most moral army. That's true. Trump is incredibly corrupt and a fascist. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, I guess it is what it is. I kind of messed up something on the stream, but that's okay. Anyways, folks, I gotta get out of here. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for helping me out today and trying this new vertical stream. The situation's gonna be rough, folks. It's gonna be really bad coming for the next weeks to months. It's gonna be really bad. I will keep, monitoring everything, and we'll keep talking about it. But yeah, this is really bad, folks. It'd be fine if they took it all. Mike Huckabee replying to Tucker Carlson. Yep. Kitty's playing. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, Mont, for keeping the community safe. Take care and stay safe, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ladybug. I appreciate it. Folks, if you want to support the channel, check out all the links. All the links there. And now ends another woke episode of A Difficult Truth. I see woke Sandy Lovitz making fun of yours truly right now. Please go show some love to Sandy. Please, folks. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. on this space. Yeah, buy your gasoline now. Yeah, interesting is one way of putting it. Buy your gasoline now. Great show, ADT. Great chat. Thank you, Poggers. Appreciate everyone happy hanging out here. Have a good one. You too, Anna. Thank you. I appreciate it, folks. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Alviana, hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, Tuesday at about 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all on this space. Hey, Butt Stuff for Real. Thank you for follow. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome. Hey, thank you so much, fellow majority reporter. I appreciate you following. Thank you so much, and welcome in. Thank you. Yes, like and sub. Saris, thank you. Yeah, please go show some support to everyone else. If you're on YouTube, there's plenty of awesome people live. There's this space is currently live, and Sandy, who's a contributor to this space, live. Please go show some support. Left of the box, that's right. So please go subscribe to them as well, and spread the love around, folks. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. Thank you all for being here. And again, hey, glad I found you. Thank you, Butt Stuff for Real. Appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Alviana, hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Hang tight, folks. Hang tight, folks. We are heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.